In this video, you will learn the basic concepts of organic chemistry. Organic chemistry is a branch of chemistry that studies the structure, properties, and reactions of organic compounds which contain carbon in covalent bonding. The first type of organic compound is the alkane. Alkanes are organic compounds that consist entirely of single-bonded carbon and hydrogen atoms. Here is an example of an alkane. This is a Lewis structure of an alkane, which can also be written in this manner. This is the condensed structure of an alkane, which can also be written in this manner. The line structure of an alkane. This alkane is also known as propane. Alkanes are used as solvents, heating oils, fuels, and in fat synthesis. The second example are the alkenes. Alkane is an unsaturated hydrocarbon that contains a carbon-carbon double bond. Here is an example of an alkene. This is the Lewis structure of an alkene, which can also be written in its condensed form. And in its line form. This alkene is called as propene. Notice the ending in naming alkenes. It ends with ene. Compared to an alkane, it ends with ane. Alkenes are used as starting materials in the synthesis of alcohols, plastics, lacquers, detergents, and fuels. The next one are the alkynes. An alkyne is an unsaturated hydrocarbon containing at least one carbon-carbon triple bond. Here is an example of an alkyne. What you can see here is the Lewis structure of an alkyne, which can also be written in its condensed form. And can also be written in its line form. That is the line form of the alkyne. Now this alkyne is called as butane. Notice that it ends with YNE because it is an alkyne. So take note of the difference between an alkane, alkene, and alkyne. An alkene ends with ANE, an alkene ends with ENE, while an alkyne ends with YNE. Now, alkynes are used to artificially ripe fruits and for making polymers. The fourth example of organic compounds are the ketones. Ketone is a functional group or an example of an organic compound with the structure RC double bond OR, where R and R can be a variety of carbon-containing substituents. Now, in order for you to understand the structure of ketone, I'm going to draw here the example of a ketone. Here is the Lewis structure of a ketone. The next one is the condensed structure of a ketone. And the last one is the line structure for a ketone. This ketone is known as propanone. Ketones behaves as an excellent solvent for certain types of plastics and synthetic fibers. It acts as a paint thinner and nail paint remover. Next, we have the aldehydes. An aldehyde is an organic compound in which a carbon atom shares a double bond with an oxygen atom, a single bond with a hydrogen atom, and a single bond with another atom or a group of atoms. In order to understand the structure of the aldehyde, I'm going to draw here the Lewis structure, the condensed structure, and the line structure of an aldehyde. So this is the Lewis structure of an aldehyde. Notice that it has a double bond between a carbon and oxygen and a single bond from a hydrogen. Do not be confused with an aldehyde and a ketone, because an aldehyde is commonly found at the end of each structure and is commonly connected with an H atom, while a ketone is commonly connected with carbons, not with a hydrogen. Now, the condensed structure of this aldehyde would be like this. And the line structure would be like this. This aldehyde is also known as propanol. Aldehydes are used in embalming, tanning, preparing glues, and polymeric products. The next type of organic compound is the carboxylic acid. Carboxylic acid is an organic compound in which a carbon atom is bonded to an oxygen atom by a double bond and to a hydroxyl group by a single bond. A fourth bond links the carbon atom to a hydrogen. This is an example of a carboxylic acid in its Lewis structure. Now, writing it in its condensed form, it would appear to be like this. And the line structure would be like this. This carboxylic acid is known as propanoic acid. Now, carboxylic acids are used in the manufacturing of soaps that leads higher fatty acids and is also acts as a disinfectant. The next organic compound is the ester. Ester is an organic compound in which a carbon is bound to three other atoms, a single bond to a carbon, a double bond to an oxygen, and a single bond to an oxygen. The singly bound oxygen is bound to another carbon. This is an example of an ester. This is the Lewis structure of an ester. Take note of the oxygen bond here. An oxygen connected to another carbon and another oxygen with double bond to a carbon. The condensed structure of an ester would be like this. And the line structure for this ester would be like this. This ester is commonly called as methyl ethanoate. Esters are used as synthetic flavors, perfumes, and cosmetics. The next one is the ether. Ether is an organic compound with an oxygen atom connected to an alkyl or aryl group. This is an example of the Lewis structure of an ether. Then the condensed structure of an ether would be like this. And the line structure would appear to be like this. This ether is known as dimethyl ether. Ethers are used as anesthetic in hospitals, organic solvent, and as extraction agent. The last type of organic compound is an alcohol. An alcohol is an organic compound that carries at least one hydroxy functional group, OH. In order to understand it, let me show you the Lewis structure of an alcohol. The hydroxy group here is the OH. That is the Lewis structure for an alcohol. Now the condensed structure for an alcohol would appear to be like this. And the line structure would be like this. This alcohol is commonly called as propanol. Alcohols are used as methylated spirit, as fuels, and as disinfectants.